Before I get into this video, and in case you know nothing about YouTube, you better smash that like button before you even watch it. You better subscribe, and you definitely want to hit that notification bell down there so that you get notified every time I upload a video. And because of YouTube's algorithms, I'd appreciate it if you could watch it to the end. Hey, I saw something that triggered me. My man Lou Rock sent me something and said, here's your next rant. So here I am. All right, so, there's this whole thing about altering cards now. And is it acceptable to do certain things? And some people tell you, well, it's okay to clean them, but it's not okay to trim them. This is a whole new thing, and I want to get into it. But before I do that, I want to show you the clip on Instagram that triggered this. Now, it's Card Porn that posted it. I don't know anything about card porn. I don't know if they did it or if they're sharing this. I know, I've heard the name. But quite frankly, there's really nobody more open than me. I mean, I lived in South Florida. Used to go hang out in South Beach. I'm very open-minded. I'm free-spirited. But not when it comes to our kids. And so for that reason, I think card porn is an awful name. I would never give them $1 single of mine. Our kids have a lot to deal with these days. And there are a lot of kids in the hobby. And for a company to call themselves porn, I 100% disagree with. I think it's horrible. And I think it speaks to whoever started that company that they would name it that. I think that speaks for itself. That said, here's the clip.
Wow, sick Broncos patch.
Now, there's a lot of back and forth about altering cards. Personally, I think it's here to stay. It's here to stay. As long as you can get the big money for the PSA 10s, and as long as they're going to grade them because they can't tell the difference, it's going to continue to be done. It's really easy to clean up these shiny cards. You can even wet them, unlike the old cardboard. And we know, or suspect, that a lot of the old vintage cards that we all ooh and ah about, in high grades, the Cracker Jack cards, T206, in high grade, we know a lot of those are suspect from near professional card trimmers, that those have been cleaned in many cases and probably trimmed. And PSA has got, caught grading trimmed cards. Hell, the first card they ever graded was a trimmed card. So as long as you can get away with it, as long as it's easy to do, it's here to stay. I hate to tell you. I disagree with the concept that it is similar to art, as I've said several times. In that art, there is only one. And cards, there's multiple. And that's why people pay up for better examples of that card, because there may be many, but there may not be many in a high grade, right? And so you're willing to pay up for that extra special example. Where art, there's one. And somebody's destroying it in the name of climate change, or like the Pieta was, somebody took a sledgehammer to it back in the day, and they had to restore it and put it under shatterproof glass. But that's the only one in existence. It's a beautiful work of art. And people will compare it to cars, you know. People will take an old car and they'll wax it and clean it. That's true. I don't know if it's an even comparison, but I will tell you this. Nobody's going to pay $1 million for that Ferrari that has a different engine in it and was painted. They want the original paint job, the original engine. They want original. That's what sells for the highest. And again, in some of those cases, I mean, it's a car, and I don't know. Some people might even want to drive that car. They might just want to, own that car. I don't know. It just seems like not a quite a complete comparison. It kind of seems like apples to oranges to me. And art and cards is definitely apples and oranges to me. Not because I don't think, old vintage baseball cards are little works of art. They are. But they were in multiple, they produced multiple of them. They're more like the art prints that are sold, copies of the art, right? Unless you had that original T206 proof, that would be a little different. That is truly a one-of-one piece of art. I have mixed emotions on it, to be honest with you. Number one, ignorance is bliss. If I don't know that a card is trimmed, how can I care? If it's in a PSA slab. But when we get into these modern cards and the prices they fetch, in that video I showed, you're going to swap out a patch and put in a patch that is going to fetch a lot more money for you. And you can see how easy it is to do. And that's not the only video I've ever seen like that. It's like only if you are Jeff Wilson or a billionaire should you mess around with spending, 6 figures to buy a rookie auto patch or to sell all your vintage cards for one. Because chances are, I shouldn't say chances are, it's possible that's not even the original card. And maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody will figure this out. I mean, these card companies know what they produced, right? If you have, they probably know how many they produce. So if there's a card that has a particular logo, and that card hits auction selling for $1 million, and the card manufacturer says, "Hey, wait a minute, we only made one of those. A different one just sold last week," or whatever. I would think that at some point you're going to see these get caught, and possibly PSA getting caught again for grading something that was altered. We don't know, but it certainly is risky to pay large amounts of money for these things. And the sticker autos, I mean, that opens up a whole new can of fake worms there. And we've seen that on stickers on a card maybe that didn't even come autographed, or it's clearly not the autographed version of the card. Who knows what they're doing today? This hobby attracts horrible people, and they try to get over on you any way they can, or they try to get over on PSA any way they can, and they do, which is why I don't value my collection on the grades that PSA assigns, and I simply will not pay up for 10s, and in many cases on the older cards for even 9s. I mean, it's great to get them, but I definitely don't pay up for 10s. You don't know. You do not know. I mean, the price differential between 9s and 10s can be thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. But again, if you don't know, how can you care? Now, when it comes to, altering vintage cards, Dave Blue Jacket 66 made a video. His girlfriend had ripped his Cracker Jack Shoeless Joe Jackson in half. He had it restored, or his father had it restored. And, You got it slabbed authentic. That's fine. If I had one, I would want it too put back together and in a slab. And it looks great, but it's authentic. Nobody's trying to pawn that off. And, a grading company missed it. So this is what I'm saying. It's a very complicated issue. And where do you draw the line? I don't think today you can say you can't touch a card. Cleaning's going to go on no matter what anybody cares. And if you're restoring a card for your collection and the whole world knows it's, altered and it's slabbed an A, you know what you're buying. So that really isn't a problem to me. It's a whole new hobby. Alteration is here to stay whether you like it or not. PSA is going to miss it and grade these things whether you like it or not. I mean, they've already done it. They've shown they will do it. You can't tell the difference. Some of these things are going to be impossible to tell the difference. How can anybody know that you cleaned up a card with cloth or you sprayed some stuff on there? I mean, they're selling these restoration kits now. This is the new hobby. I guess the big question is, will it ruin it? Will it ruin it? What do you think will happen to prices when you can't tell, or you're afraid that alteration has occurred, when you can't trust anything anymore? Or will you not care? Because again, ignorance is bliss. And if you don't think that fear or trust can affect graded cards, you may want to think again. Just look at how fear and mistrust has affected the ungraded card world. Compare ungraded vintage cards to graded vintage cards. And why is that difference there? Because PSA is so trustworthy? No. It's because you are afraid you're going to get duped, that you're going to get a trimmed card or an altered card. You're scared to death about that. So you won't buy ungraded cards anymore. There are fine lines. Like, is really taking a soft cloth and cleaning up a chrome card that big of a deal? No. I mean, I do it for my cards if there's a fingerprint or something, because I don't want to look at it. Back in the old days, if we had a little glue residue, or gum residue rather, you have a little gum residue on the card, you'd take your mom's pantyhose and lightly take that off when we were little kids, if it was on the front of the card. I don't even think we cared if it was on the back, but you wanted to get that off of there because it just didn't look good. Is that altering a card? Or is it removing something that altered the card? It's a complicated issue. It's not a black and white issue. To say that you can't do this to a chrome card, I don't know. It's very complicated. I'd love to know your thoughts on the matter. But we're in a whole new realm now. We're in a whole new realm where we're not just cleaning cards, trimming cards. Now, heck, we're replacing patches. It's kind of a sad day. Thanks for watching.